Happy St. Patrick's Day. So today we are going to be making our own fermented sauerkraut. And the reason that I chose to do this on St. Patrick's Day is because most of the time cabbage goes on sale for St. Patrick's Day the week before. So I picked up 5 cabbages at 29 cents a pound. So this was so inexpensive. I make my sauerkraut for the whole year. I actually eat a lot of sauerkraut. I have a lot of dishes that my grandma used to make. She was from Czechoslovakia, and she's had all kinds of cabbage recipes that I still eat a lot of today. So join me. I'm going to show you the easiest way to make sauerkraut, and you are just going to, for a very short amount of time, you are going to love having homemade sauerkraut. It's not going to taste anything like the stuff you buy in the store. It is going to be crunchy and crisp and delicious, and you're just going to love it. So here we go. So now I picked up 5 cabbages, and I just wanted to show you, I picked up one that didn't have a real good leaf because I wanted to show you if you just take the outside leaf off sometimes, you still end up with a beautiful head of cabbage. So if you've got, cabbage that's got leaves that are kind of wilted or pulled away, just take those off and you're going to see what we're going to do with them when we're all done. Most of these look really good. This one just has a little bit of dirt. You always want to make sure you wash your cabbage. They grow very close to the dirt. And although they usually give them a quick rinse when they pick them, they're not usually the cleanest. So I'm going to go ahead and get my cabbage started. And I've already washed my cabbage. I did see that one leaf. I'll probably re-wash them just to be on the safe side. And then let me show you how I do this. So there's only 2 things required to make sauerkraut. Kosher salt, which I pick up this big jar of kosher salt at the Dollar Tree. For $1.25, I get this whole jar of kosher salt, and I use it for a lot of my canning in the summer for vegetable dishes and all kinds of things. And cabbage, that's it, 2 ingredients. So I start off by cutting my cabbage in half, and this is just the way I do it. If you have an easier way, do it the way you normally do it. But I do like to take these cores out, and so I'm going to cut it one more time. And then I'm just going to get rid of that little tough core in the middle, just like this. Oh, this is a strong cabbage. I can really smell it. So there's 2 ways that you can do your cabbage. You can cut it by hand, or you can cut it with a mandolin. Now I'm just going to show you, if you do decide to use, a knife, you can just make sure that you get these little shreds nice and thin. The thinner that they are, the quicker that they ferment. So if you don't have a huge amount, this is a really nice way to do it. So you want them like this texture right here. So I just put them in a bowl till I fill this up. But let me show you the way that I do it. I actually have a mandolin. This is a Cuisinart mandolin, and let me show you how it works. It's really fast, and I'll have all these cabbages shredded up in no time. So a lot of people are really afraid to use a mandolin because they are really sharp. They can really slice you up pretty bad. So the reason I like this Cuisinart mandolin is that it comes with this tool. You basically just take it and stick it onto your cabbage, just like this, and it keeps your fingers away from the shredder. And I'm so afraid of getting cut with it that I actually have a special glove that I have that's just for when I'm using something like this. And this is actually made by Joey, and it just helps so that it protects your hands so that you don't get cut. So let me show you how my mandolin works. I'm going to link it below if anybody's interested, but it's just as easy to cut it with a knife. This is just faster for me because this is going to be quite a process. You'll see I'm going to end up with a lot of cabbage. All right, so this is super easy. All we're gonna do is hold this, basically pushes down over your vegetable so that it has a really nice tight hold on it. So all we're gonna do is just push it through the mandolin, and it's amazing. It works so good. Look at that. We've already gone through almost all of it. So this last little bit, I always kind of put aside, and we'll do that at the very end. So let me show you what it did. Look at that, how quick and easy that was. So these bigger pieces, like I said, they're gonna go in a little pile, and I'm gonna chop those all up at the very end. I don't wanna get my hand anywhere near that sharp blade. So there you go, into the bowl it goes, just like that. So let me get all this cabbage done. Then I'll show you what I end up with and how I salt my cabbage. So for every head of cabbage, you're gonna add 1.5 tablespoons of kosher salt. Now this is 2 heads of shredded cabbage, so I've added 3 tablespoons of kosher salt and just kind of mix this cabbage together. And now I'm just gonna let it set on the counter for about 10 or 15 minutes. And you're gonna see the difference in the way that this cabbage is gonna look. It's gonna kind of break down a little bit. It's gonna break down a lot more as soon as we get it into its container. But total, we're gonna do 4 heads of cabbage, and then I'm gonna shred up probably another head of cabbage because I'm gonna make some coleslaw for the week. So at this point, you can see that the cabbage has actually started to break down a little bit. It's only been about 15 minutes. I'm gonna put this into this anchor hocking crock. Now, if you have a ceramic crock that you use, I mean, that's really good, as long as you don't have this fermenting in metal. Now, it's okay to throw it in a pan for a little bit until you get it in the fermentation process, but I love these anchor hocking glass containers. They're inexpensive and they do a great job. So all I'm gonna do at this point is take my cabbage and put it into my glass crock, and I'm gonna use a potato masher in my hands, I mean, whatever it takes, and I'm gonna mash this down. Now, the more that you do that, the more that this cabbage will ferment. I don't know why it works that way, but it does. So we're gonna just put all of this 2 heads of cabbage in here. I just take a potato masher and I just push down on the sauerkraut. Actually, it's not sauerkraut yet, but I push down on this fermented cabbage because I want all the juices in the cabbage to come out as much as possible. And already you can see it's starting to, the liquid's starting to come out of the cabbage. See how wet it looks? And I can see it's starting to drip down into the bottom of the container. So I've only had this in here 15 minutes, but I wanted to show you the liquid that's come out of that cabbage. So I decided to do all 5 heads of cabbage, and as you can see, it pretty much filled up my crock. And so I just wanted to show you, I'm not sure this will show up real good, but you can see right here, this is where the liquid line already is. It's just like probably 2 inches of liquid already. So I am gonna show you how I cover this up and how I keep all of the cabbage submerged and how it turns into sauerkraut. So remember when we kept all of these large leaves that we took off? Well, all we're gonna do is put those on top of our little pieces of cabbage, kind of tuck them in along the top of the sides. And the reason that we're doing this is because when this cabbage starts to ferment, these little tiny pieces are gonna wanna float to the top, because in the next couple of days, this is all gonna be submerged in liquid. All the liquid is gonna come out of the cabbage, and you're gonna have all this cabbage submerged. So what I do is I take my larger leaves and I just tuck them around so that these little pieces can't come out. And then I'm gonna put a weight on top of it so that I can be sure that once these are all covered in liquid, that they're gonna stay covered in liquid. So there's a lot of ways you can do that. You can use a plate, you can use a bag of water. I mean, you can use a big rock. I mean, you can use all kinds of things. And I think I have enough at this point, but I'm gonna go ahead and just have a couple pieces left, and I'm just gonna throw those away. And so your sauerkraut is gonna look just like this. And actually, when I push down on it, the liquid actually now is up to the top of the leaves. So that's amazing. This probably by tonight will be 100% submerged. So let me show you what I do to keep everything under the liquid and starting to ferment. So all I do is I take a gallon-sized bag of water and I fill it up and close it, and I put it in another bag just to make sure it doesn't open up. And then all I'm gonna do is just close this second bag, just like this, get all the air out of it. And I like doing this because you'll see I can go ahead and kind of flatten it out a little bit. And this is heavy. This will keep everything weighted down just right. So we put this down over our cabbage, just like this. And then I know there's a lot of ways you can cover this. I am gonna cover it with a piece of plastic, but you can use a towel, you can use all kinds of things. But every day you're gonna take this out, you're gonna inspect and make sure that everything's fermenting and looks like it's supposed to. And let me show you the final product. I'm just gonna take our plastic and put it over the top. I have a little rubber band here. I'm gonna just secure it, just like that. Just gonna take a little knife here and just make one little hole. That's it, that's all you need. Now I'm gonna set this in a nice dark spot in my kitchen, and I'm just gonna let it go for about anywhere between 10 to 14 days. And then at the end of that time, I'm gonna have sauerkraut. So in the past, sometimes I actually put this into mason jars and can it in a water bath canner. Sometimes I just put it in mason jars and put it in the refrigerator. I mean, sometimes I eat it so quickly that I just get rid of it pretty fast. But I usually seal them so that I have sauerkraut to last me throughout the year. So I hope you enjoyed that video of making homemade sauerkraut. I think if you give it a try, you're gonna love it. The taste is very different than what you get in the store. I don't know why. I don't know if they cure it longer, or I just don't know what the difference is, but it's very good when it's homemade. So thank you for watching today. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel, and happy St. Patrick's Day.